What is up, everybody? My name is Chris Peterson. I am back today with another kind of deck tech Pioneer League with Sultai Dredgeless Dredge. So the main idea behind this deck is you get things into the graveyard and they come back from the graveyard and then you kill your opponent. The thing to know about Dredge is that there's actually not a single Dredge card in this deck that uses the mechanic Dredge, but we're using recursion from the graveyard and using the graveyard almost as like a second zone to draw from. So cards like Stitcher Supplier. When Stitcher Supplier enters the battlefield or dies, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. And then we have cards like Satyr Wayfinder. When he enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them, put the rest in the graveyard. We have cards like Prized Amalgam that come back from the graveyard. When a creature enters the battlefield, if it entered from your graveyard or you cast it from your graveyard, return Prized Amalgam from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this card works really well with cards like Narcomoeba. Narcomoeba is put into the graveyard from your library, put it onto the battlefield. So if you play a Stitcher Supplier, you put a Narcomoeba into the graveyard, then you get to, if you also have a Prized Amalgam, you would get to go Stitcher Supplier, reveal Narcomoeba, put it into the graveyard, and then if Prized Amalgam is also there, you'll put an Narcomoeba into the graveyard, and Prized Amalgam will come back at the end of the turn, which is a very, very good thing. We also have other things in here, like Creeping Chill, that want to be in the graveyard. When Creeping Chill is put into your graveyard from your library, you may exile it. If you do, deals 3 damage, and you gain 3 life. We also have cards like Grizzly Salvage. Reveal the top 5, put a creature or land, so it's a similar effect to Satyr Wayfinder in the fact that we get card selection. And there's also cards like Scrap Heap Scrounger. So Scrap Heap Scrounger, exile another creature card from your graveyard, return Scrounger from your graveyard to the battlefield. So just to be completely, upfront, honest, and just transparent about Dredge, one of the best things about Dredge is that you are hardly ever without any plays on any given turn because you're doing so much. You're drawing cards, you're playing cards, you're casting cards from your graveyard. I'm going to start this video with just a thing and say that I'm not a Dredge master, but I do enjoy Dredge. I might make a wrong line. In fact, I know I'll make a wrong line today. But if you just want to put it in the comment below what you think I should have done, or maybe, even as the video is going on, maybe I'll even learn what that line should have been to begin with. So we're going to learn together, we're going to make mistakes together, but I think this deck is really, really powerful. Partially because of its strong game 1, where lots of decks don't really interact well with the graveyard, but then in games 2 and 3, we have cards like Thoughtseize, Duress, Fatal Push, Assassin's Trophy, Ashiok, Natural State, Ultimate Price. All of these cards are very, very cheap interactions that the format is going to have to deal with. So things like Thoughtseize and Duress, we can immediately dismantle our opponent's hands. Our cheap creatures, our opponent's cheap creatures that are trying to stabilize the board for them, we're going to be able to remove them very quickly. And then any enchantments, artifacts, planeswalkers that we just can't deal with, through damage, we're going to Assassin's Trophy away. And then Ashiok, if we play against another deck that interacts with the graveyard, we can use Ashiok to get rid of their graveyard and also fill our own. So overall, this deck has a lot of play, and it's going to be a lot of fun, so let's get into it. I've been playing decks all over the format of Pioneer. I've pretty much only played Pioneer since it was released, and I've yet to play a Dredge deck, so this will be very fun. I've played lots of Control, lots of Aggro, of various forms. I've played Aetherworks Marvel, a couple other combo decks, but Dredge, this is a different kind of deck. First. Alright, so we got 2 Stitcher Supplier and a Grizzly Salvage, so we will keep this. Got lands to cast our things. It's fine. See what this can do. Always yield. Revealed Driven, Grizzly Salvage, Land on Wastes. So nothing too great right there. We'll keep our graveyard up the whole time. Fabled Passage. Sacrifice, put a swamp. Yeah. Narcomoeba, that is absolutely the last card we want to draw, but here we are. Oh, Creeping Show. Okay. Exile it. Not pay 2 life. Alright. How does Haunted Dead read? Haunted Dead reads: discard 2 cards, return Haunted Dead from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped for 2 mana. So we definitely have 2 cards that we can definitely discard. Alright, so this is going to be really, really cool. If we can do all of these things all at once. Why not? We'll shock this in. Let's return the Haunted Dead. Card 2 cards. Field. I think we have enough to cast this. 2. Oh ho ho. Look at this board state on turn 3. So beautiful. Pretty good. Okay. Our opponent is at 12. We have lots of power on the board. We are doing lots of things, and there's the concession for game 1. So that is kind of what we're looking. Dude, we did pretty well that game. Owning this scrub indeed. We didn't see much of his deck. We saw a Thoughtseize, we saw a Fabled Passage. So for this game, I'm guessing that he has cheap creatures and ways to interact with us. So maybe the scariest card for this entire deck is Scavenging Ooze. It's bigger, it gains life. We don't want to deal with it. So what we'll do is we will figure out some cards that are less good because of Scavenging Ooze. So I think maybe one of the first cards we can cut is a Scrap Heap Scrounger. We'll cut 1. And maybe we will cut Gather the Pack Read. Reveal the top 5. Put a creature card from among them. We will cut 1 Gather the Pack. I'm not saying this is correct. We'll cut 1 Gather the Pack. And then we will cut 2 Creeping Chills. So what's going to happen now is we are then going to bring in 3 Fatal Pushes and the ultimate price. We're just going to remove doing. So we're trimming on some random things. Scrap Heap Scrounger can't block. You know, it comes back from the graveyard, but if it's eaten, it is what it is. And we're going to just try to be an aggressive deck that removes blockers. So we have removal. If we draw 1 more land, we can cast both these things. I think that there's better hands, but do you know what? We need to try this deck. We need to see what it's like with only 1 land. So with the Temple Malady, it is telling me that it is indeed a very, very mid-range version of black-green control, or black-green mid-range, I'm sorry. So a card like Scavenging Ooze is definitely probably present somewhere in that 75. We did not get to our second land, but we did find a Citrus Supplier, so that's fine. Satyr and double lands, okay. Unfortunate. It also makes it awkward because he probably doesn't want to kill this. Yep. I want that. Can I have that land? It'd be really nice for our land. For our deck. Oh. Alright. So he probably will never block. So what we're going to do is we are going to kill our own Citrus Supplier. We just need to get something going. We're gonna see what happens. Okay. Anything going in the graveyard? Oh, there it is, Narcomoeba. Okay. Got something going on? Yes, we'll use his ability. Here's a Prized Amalgam trigger going on the stack. So, Fatal Pushing. That was actually very, very good for us. We are functioning on only one land, but on turn 3, we have 4 power in play. Not the best place, not the worst place to be. Another Krufix. Fine. Yep. He can gain some life, that's okay. When we start to snowball, we'll snowball pretty hard. There's an Abrupt Decay. We finally got a land. So let's shock this in. And there are two or more instant sorcerers. Okay. What we're going to do is we'll start with Gather the Pack. We're looking for Stitcher Supplier. That is the primary card that we want to reveal off of things like this. Okay, we got one. And we want another card that we can... So, Scrap Heap Scrounger we can put in the graveyard and return to trigger Prized Amalgam. Or we can just get just back the Stitcher Supplier. So, I'm inclined to say I only want this creature. The others can go to the graveyard. I'm not casting them, I'm not doing anything with them. And then this can trigger. By putting this into the graveyard, I can trigger it next turn. Handful of good things. Kalidas is a good card. Ultimate Price will try to mop her up pretty quickly. Yep. So I also saw an Overgrown Tomb. Locks that in, gains 2 life. Gains 2, loses 2, so net 0. Okay. Alright. Do our Stitcher Supplier thing. Was there anything that was put into there? Nope. Alright, so we will just do this again. Worked out well the first time. Let's just keep on going. Alright, so we did not hit anything this go around, which is okay. We know our next turn is going to be killing the Kalidas with the Ultimate Price in hand. So we just field the graveyard a little bit. We can get back this Haunted Dead, make some more flyers. In a good place. Vraska. Alright. So our opponent has a Grafdigger's Cage. Creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. Ooh, we know he has the Grafdigger's Cage. Yeah. Now this is a very different game. Okay, so the Mastermind's acquisition. So he is firmly going in the driver's seat right now. If we continue to play this game, we're going to be playing it from our hand, which is not exactly where this deck wants to be playing from. So let's start with here. Is there any reason to continue playing this game? My opponent has 5 cards in hand, a Kalidas, a Grafdigger's Cage, a Vraska, 2 Corsair Krufixes. I am at 2 lands on turn 6. So let's just save us a little bit of time. I think that maybe if we fought, maybe if they draw poorly, maybe, but now that we know our opponent is a Mastermind's Acquisition deck and he has the ability to tutor, we just want to become a more efficient deck. We'll take out all 4 Creeping Chills because that is not how we're going to be winning this game. And we are going to also bring in both of these. In terms of what to take out, the Fatal Pushes were pretty poor, so I'll take out one of those. We did bring in 2 Assassin's Trophy. And we will... we need 2 more cuts. Let's take out... I think that we're filling up our graveyard just fine, and also in case he does slam a turn 1 Grafdigger's Cage, we might have to be playing from our hand, so let's just trim on things that would definitely influence that. I'll cut 1 more Gather the Pack. I'm not saying this is correct, I'm not saying it's not correct, but these are just card selection spells that give us consistency, but as of right now, oh yeah, we want this natural state. Whoop. So, on to game 3. Now that we have a little bit better of an idea, I think we're better equipped. Okay. We have lands, we have a Grizzly Salvage, so that means the first thing that we're doing is on turn 2. I think that is a little too slow for us. This is a 5, so this is going to be a 6-card hand if we keep. This is not casting for a while, this is not casting for a while, and these are spells that all interact. So we'll mulligan. We're going to go to 5. We are going to... I still think that there's probably better 4s in the deck, so we're going to mulligan again. Yeah. So we're going to keep this, and I will show you what this looks like. We're going to keep Gurmag. Oh, whoa. I meant we're going to bottom the 2 Scrap Heap Scroungers. The Prized Amalgam. They done. I really wanted a card selection spell. I want to start filling up our graveyard immediately. That's the deck is built around. If we're playing a fair game, we'll lose. Okay. Okay. We will wait till the... Actually, we will... wait till the end of the turn. And natural state. Stage. Walking Ballista. What happened there? Creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. Did he cast it for 0? Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, so a little bit of an error by my opponent. He accidentally clicked 0 on the Walking Ballista, and so it went straight to the graveyard. Put a creature or a land into our hand and the rest into the graveyard. We are going to put this Blooming Marsh in hand, then play it for our turn. Our Gurmag will cost 6, but all of these things we can get back next turn by returning Scrap Heap Scrap, so we're not going to touch it. So next turn we can go off if he doesn't have another Grafdigger's Cage. Yeah. So the Walking Ballista doesn't look too relevant. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. We'll exile 1 Prized Amalgam. We'll trigger the other. We do not have enough to 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. We do not have enough, so we'll just put this in play tapped. Pass the turn. Kill that again. The prized amalgam will still come back. So we can't cast the Scrap Heap Scrounger. So we'll just cast Ermag Angle. Attack. Okay. Five mana. Dark Petition. Okay. You will get 3 black to add to this. We'll see what he ends up getting. It'll be very interesting. Citrus Supplier would be an amazing draw off the top of our deck. At this point in time, Grafdigger's Cage doesn't actually stop us. We have a 5/5 play. We have 1 card left in hand. Like, there's a lot of things that are just going on that we're fine with. If we draw Narcomoeba, we'll cast it. You know, we're in a pretty good spot. I'm not saying the best spot, but okay. Yep. Okay, so he went for the Grafdigger's. Galita's Forest. Okay. Let me read this. Creature cards in graveyards and libraries. Battle. Players can't cast graveyards or libraries. Yeah. So it's highlighting Scrap Heap Scrounger's ability. So I'm curious as to why it's doing that, but Driven. On a turn, creatures you control gain trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage, draw a card. Aftermath, cast this only from the graveyard. Until end of turn, creatures you control gain menace, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to that player discards a card. Okay. So we will cast this for sure. And we cannot cast this from the graveyard. So, we will. Not a bad card to draw. But first, we need to play our land. We're still playing just a fine game, as it is. Not the best game. This Hissing Quagmire, if my opponent decides to block with it, is going to create a pretty interesting board state. But right now, we're okay. We're hoping for a kill spell for the Hissing Quagmire, or a removal removal spell for the Grafdigger's Cage, so we can continue trucking along. That is not the card we were. This is a 2/2. Okay. Attack like this, and our Haunted Dead can trade with it. Okay. So he's attacking for 3 and then gaining 3. So I'm losing 3, he's going to netting 0 each turn, as long as these two are stalemating. I don't know if he has anything, but just getting information is never a bad thing. Languish. Okay. So I think we're actually okay with him having the Languish because it hurts him so badly. I don't know why he didn't cast Fatal Push. Oh, I guess he can't. He could have cast it on the Spirit, I guess, but yeah, that doesn't do him any good. Going to cast a Languish. Oh, Vraska's Contempt. Very nice, sir. Has anti-synergy with the Kalitas, but I'm sure he doesn't mind that right now. Narcomoeba is a fine draw. Not the best draw I've ever had, but it is what it is. Can he activate 3? In there. I am genuinely curious about this Scrounger trigger. I almost want to try it because I don't know what's going on. The Grafdigger's Cage? Would it just exile a creature? So sometimes there's bugs on Moto, and I have a feeling this is one of them, but I'm not willing to activate it this turn because it pretty much takes us out of the game if it's wrong. It eliminates a lot of our draws. There's a big Kalitas, what it now has. So now that we are here in the game, okay, that was a very good draw. Okay, how do we want to do this? I think that we are still trying to play out of the graveyard, no matter what. So I think that we just have to continue as such, even with this big Kalitas in play. The last card in hand that he has is a Languish. Okay, so here is what's going to happen. I am going to, now that he's done that, he is exiling all my cards. We are going to go here. Would have been able to do that. What? Okay, so we have enough mana, we can activate the Scrap Heap Scrounger next turn and do whatever we'd like, so I'm not going to actually activate that this turn. The benefit would be that it gives us a blocker for the Kalitas, so actually, talking it out. No, it doesn't, because we gotta exile it. So we need to hope for a mill 5 off the top. Not a mill 5. So we now have a blocker for the Kalitas. Not exactly the greatest. We will Scrap Heap Scrounger, getting some amount of value. Put this in a play tap. So sadly, we just got a block. Game's looking pretty tough. Card's pretty good. Is if he discards a Languish? No, okay. So I think that means that we are officially dead. Sadly. I did mold a 4, looking for some type of interaction spell, and it ended up not paying off. Not saying that's correct or incorrect, but compared to our 7 and our 6, I really liked the idea of going that direction, because I want to see what this deck is capable of, and ultimately we are a Dredge deck. We are dead. Well done. Very good game by my opponent. He naturally had a lot of different hate for us, and so it's unfortunate that you know, I've played lots of Pioneer in the past couple weeks and haven't come up against very many decks that have Grafdigger's Cage in the 75 or Kalitas or Cry or Languish, and so all of those cards interact with us very well. Life. Let's get into round 2. Hope it goes a little bit better. Where was this hand last round? That's all I want to say. I'm just gonna say that. This in game 7, I think we're in a very good place. We'll shock this in. Ooh, yeah. Got a prized Amalgam Gurmag Angler. Doing good? Is that a question or a statement? Darn. This Narcomoeba is a little weird. We want that in the graveyard. We get... we will... Encouragement. Okay. That's good. Let's go attacking. Shall we? Encouragement. You my cheerleader. You're the best. Oh, Ripjaw Raptor. Alright. Nice. Yep. Let's land drop. Get our way to find her into play. Find our land for next turn. Take a Llanowar. The Narcomoeba in, triggering the Prized Amalgam. Sounds good. Dang. I'm gonna draw some cards. Draw a card, I draw 3 cards. That's how this works, right? Ends up looking like. Another Prized Amalgam was put into the graveyard. Awesome. 1. Maybe I could have attacked first and then played the Satyr Wayfinder. These are things that I'm learning along the way. You know, little tips and tricks. Oh, but if I play the Satyr Wayfinder after I attack with the Citrus Supplier, then I don't mill the Prized Amalgam. So, interesting. Oh, what is this? The spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Add 2 green, you gain 2 life. Whenever a non-token creature enters a battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it and draw a card. Wow, that is doing a lot for my opponent. It's going to be a 2/2. Okay, alright. Oh, okay. Oh, because it saw this Prized Amalgam triggered this Prized Amalgam from one end step to the next. Interesting. Let's play our Llanowar Wastes. Start with a Grizzly Salvage. Put a creature or land into your hand. Mag Angler. Okay. Yeah, we'll use that ability. And right now we are going to. Does this give 1/1? Is that how that reads? Till end of turn, creatures you control gain trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage, draw a card. Wow. So we can draw a lot of cards. I like this. Whoo-wee! Get in there. All of my dudes and dudettes. Yep. Yep. Okay. Pretty good. Okay, sounds good. Big old guy. Hey Jesse, thank you for hanging out today, buddy. It's always nice chatting with you, hanging out with you. This Narcomoeba might be unblocking, dude. What are you doing? Okay, see if we can get him. Okay. Let's start with a gather. So we're going to go green, colorless. We get 2 creatures into our hand, or we can put these both into the graveyard. I think the answer to that is we would like both of the graveyard. Both of these things are cheaper out of the graveyard, so we can just do that. What I will do now is I kind of want to make him discard cards. So I can make him discard cards, and then I'm at 13, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, so that's lethal. So right now we are going to be on stabilizing duty. Let's double cast Gurmag Angler. Delve away one of these bad boys. Get away fine. And in terms of combat, we attack for 4. So we can give this menace, we can give this menace, we can give this menace. Another Haunted Dead. Oh, okay. This is where we're at in the game. Bonus. Very nice. Right. Can we? Is the question. So we have 5 lands. If we play a Satyr Wayfinder, then we end up with 4. So it is almost free. Consider playing him. Then we get back Haunted Dead. Discard the Mark Amoeba. Yeah, I think that's just where we want to be at. We'll go. Creeping Chill is kind of the card we're looking for. So I see a Narcomoeba, Prized Amalgam, and Stitcher Supplier. So I can make it to where 1/1 and guys. Go and tramp. A lot of damage that I'm not going to be able to control. So we'll see how this is going to end up going. Ronus was a little bit out of left park. We're actually not going to do 4 Prized Amalgams in the graveyard. 2. Ah. Got it. Duelist Champion. We'll get haste from the Sirach. How he attacks and then can't. Okay, so we're at 6, so we need to let no more than 6 trample from any of these creatures. So, the way we will block it. So, we block here. Need double pumps, that'll be 6. Do it. I think we are just dead friends. Let's see if he knows how to do it. Of course he dies. Very nice, very nice. Whoa! Showing me Aspect of Hydra. Alright. Green Devotion. So we are playing against a mono green Devotion deck. Wowie. Okay. So against this deck, Assassin's Trophy seems pretty good. Dress is probably pretty meh. Thoughtseize is probably pretty good. Mono-colored creature? Huh. Seems like his whole deck. In terms of effectiveness with the Fatal Push, a lot of the creatures that are going to kill us are not necessarily like that. Get rid of some of these things. Flying is not going to be too effective. It will be effective, but not in any substantial way. But it does trigger everything. Actually, we can out. Like I said, we're learning to go. Creeping Chill is going to gain us life, but that's not exactly where we want to be at. Keep 2 in. And then we will cut. This guy can't block, so kind of interesting in the fact that like we might want to block, and we'll cut 1 Gather the Pack. Alright. Go like that and get back in. Play first. Ooh, we got a mulligan. Double Stitcher Supply or Gurmag Grizz. Keep. We'll put a card on the bottom, and that card will be. This hand looks very, very good in terms of what it does for us. Darn you. If these were hitting, if this was hitting first turn, like our deck would be much smoother. So now, be efficient. Grizzly Salvage. Oh. What the? Oh, it needs to be green and black. Got it. Is there any reason to cast this right now? Do that. There's no way he blocks. Maybe we'll do this during his attacks. See if we can't get a Narcomoeba into play. Ooh, we can. Get a Wayfinder. And why don't we block with it? Slow him down. So I'm half tempted to just to get the Gurmag Angler out as soon as possible. Let's start with There's an Archimedes trigger. Nice. And I think that is... Oh, that's Botanical Sanctum. Darn you. Mag Angler. On turn 3, we have a 5/5 and 3 1/1s. I guess that's not the best, not the craziest thing I've ever seen. Yep. Blocker. Start here. Prized Amalgam, Assassin's Trophy. Fatal Wayfire. We're getting a Creeping Chill into the graveyard. And a Driven. Next turn we will Driven, giving them all Menace. Can't block, and he'll discard 5 cards. Oh, good question. Jack, thanks for hanging out. So I did hear and see about that, and I don't know how to feel about it. You know, I've heard for a couple years about the MTG Legends thing, and I never know like how soon in the future or what kind of quality it's going to be. If it has to do with the kind of like the way the Wizards of the Coast has been treating their competitive play and just pouring lots of money into it recently, it might be awesome. Like, it could be really amazing. But if it's another low budget movie, it might not be very good. But you know, I'm excited for the possibilities, but I'm also just trying to be careful to not overthink that it's going to just be like the coolest thing ever, right? So I think it could be fun. What do you think? You tell me. Have you done a lot of research about it? I think we're going to get game 2. Excellent question though, Jack. I've yet to talk to anyone about this, but I did see it the other day. Have you asked anyone else what their thoughts are? Has anyone else given you any good insights or questions or opinions? This hand looks great. We will keep it. We're going to start off with the turn 1 Stitcher Supplier. We're going to go from there. We'll keep the Thoughtseize for a turn or 2. Yep. He could actually have a big turn 2 play by playing a 5/4, so I am tempted. I am tempted to Thoughtseize. So let's go to 16 Thoughtseize. He is more like a combo deck. His Mono Green Devotion is combo-ish. Ooh, we read that right. So Steel Leaf Champion was going to be the turn 2. Now all he has is a Gulta. Oh, draw another one off the top anyways, huh? Very nice. Sometimes it just be like that. That is not what we want to draw. Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay to be split. But at the same time, the information that's been written about the universe is quite extensive, right? So that is kind of amazing. I don't know if you've ever read any of the Planeswalker books, but there are a lot of books that have been written by Wizards of the Coast about the Planeswalkers, the legends, the just all that, the whole universe. Come on, come on, dude. Are we serious right now? We might die to this 5/4. Straight up 5/4. So we're gonna Grizzly Salvage, and we are going to look for a Gurmag. Oh, not that one. So black Grizzly Salvage. That is not exactly what we need. So we will take okay, another Creeping Chill is good. It buys us another turn. Get this. If you had to choose a Planeswalker in that universe, who would you choose? That's a good question, huh? Guys, back with 2 of them. Does he get to play Gulta right here? Absolutely. Help. Kind of crazy. I thought we were gonna do really well this game. Alright, so how do we get out of this? There's always a way, right? Except for when this thing is having the biggest booty of his life. I think we just gotta go double Satyr Wayfinder, hope to trigger some prized amalgams, and go. They'll come into play tapped, so it's not gonna work out well. There's an Archamoeba. It'll trigger the 1 prized amalgam, but it'll come into play tapped. Let's go for another one. There's another Narcomoeba. I just buried the Gurmag Angler we wanted earlier. Yeah, so we went wide with a bunch of 1/1s, and we're going to die to a 5/4 that we can't block. So, unfortunate is what it is, though. Man, this deck is, it's winning games, but not matches. So that is something to consider. The consistency might be an issue for sure. Get into round 3 though. I'm hopeful that we can win at least 2 or 3 games. And, you know, maybe make some changes to the deck. So these are 2 cards that are dead in our hand, so this is pretty much keeping a 5-card hand. So we're going to mulligan, try to get a better 6. This is a better 6. We'll keep this. And we will bury the thing that we want in our deck. Desert of the Indomitable. Oh, is this a cycling deck? Prized Amalgam. Officially in the graveyard, so we do have our first graveyard target now. Okay. Some sort of big mana deck. Let's start with the Satyr. Contribute to the board in a meaningful way. Bury more cards. There's a Creeping Chill. We'll grab the... Dude, if only we could get some Vengevine in here. Vengevine would be... Dear Wizards of the... Please reprint Vengevine. I would love you forever. Thank you so much. Awesome. All I want for Christmas is Vengevine and Pioneer. Is that too much to ask, you think? I wonder what a red splash would look like in this deck, honestly. Okay. Start with the Citrus Supplier. Nothing. Alright. Get to attacking. And I think where we're at is we're just going to cast this during his turn. Five mana. Golos. Alright. You're officially playing against a Golos. Shrine. Big mana. Alright, let's keep on going wide. Oh, we get to put a creature or a land into our hand and the rest into the graveyard. I think we like this one. Yes. Trigger double Prized Amalgam. Why did we not get Prized Amalgam back? Beginning of the next... Oh, because I did it before the end step. Got it. Okay. Good thing to know about this deck, alright? Look at that. Learning something new. We will... There it is. Okay. And now we will cast... he has 4 cards in hand. We will cast Riven. Discard 3 cards. See what he discards. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. He has 8 mana, so if he does have an Ugin in hand, it's going to come down and just erase all of these things. Totaling 2 mana. It's really feeling like an Ugin that he has left. But to make sure that it actually gets rid of it, I think we got to do this. I mean, if it's not Nugan, then we get to win the game, but... Yep. Yeah. So, we will... think we get to win. Four, five, six, and 8. Oh, excuse me, guys. Okay. So what we will do now is cast a Scrap Heap Scrounger, so then if he does have, indeed, a Ugin, you do not lose. What you got? Okay. Did we get there? I think we did. Got there. Close game. We beat an Ugin. We beat an Ugin by playing Scrap Heap Scrounger appropriately. But now that we know that this is a big mana deck, we got to play a little bit differently. Assassin's Trophy is going to be a necessary card. Thoughtseize is going to be a necessary card. And honestly, Ashiok's a really good card here. We do not necessarily need the ultimate price. He's going to be playing his hand slowly, so with that in mind, making him discard cards seems really good. Creeping Chill is going to be a little less necessary. It did win us the game. Gurmag Angler to push through damage is going to be good. Onto Dead, a 2/2 and a 1/1 is not really necessary. Maybe Selection that doesn't offer much more is maybe cuttable in this instance, because we can afford to be a little bit more selective on what we're actually playing. Beat Ugin, we're gonna probably need this. So right now, we'll use... Got one. I really like Gurmag Angler in this matchup. Let's get more Creeping Chill. And if we do that, just bring in Gather. Or Haunted Dead. It is a creature. It does fly. So yeah, we'll keep in our creatures. So we're cutting things that don't contribute to the board. See how this goes. Alright, so we got a turn 1 play, our turn 2, and we'll go from there. Boreal Grace. Paste. Let's start a Thoughtseize on opponent. So he will for sure get to 10 mana. I think that we just take the payoff card because we may not get another look at his hand. The mulliganed a bunch. I didn't even catch that. Okay. Good card. Like this. So at his main phase, we're going to cast this Grizzly Salvage and hopefully trigger some Prized Amalgam. Yeah, man. I decided to do a league with this deck, and this time it's this is a video for YouTube, so I'm doing it without music. I decided to do 2 different content today. So I'm doing content for Twitch when I play music, you know, do it in the morning, and then YouTube will be in the afternoon. So just trying to not put all of my peas in one pod, as the cool kids say. Can we? No, it's peas in a pod. I'm totally kidding. I'm just being ridiculous there. Our opponent might get lucky on this Multi 5. Main phase, we gotta throw this down. See what it gets us. 2 Drivens. Not the best. One has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Puts this into play. Play a Prized Amalgam. Okay. Yeah. If he's going searching for 2 lands, we'll just concede. Yep. Let's just concede there, friends. I don't think we're going anywhere after that. Zombies. I don't want to reveal my hand, but I guess it doesn't matter. Dang, alright, deck. Let's bring in an ultimate price. And let's cut 1 these because it wasn't a creature, and we weren't able to remove the creature, so it was a little weird. Okay, I like this a lot. We'll lead with a Stitcher Supplier, turn 1. My opponent also kept 7. Please! Oh my goodness. Dude, all of my Stitcher Suppliers are just like mediocre at best. Okay, now we'll Thoughtseize him. And Thoughtseize incoming. Elvish Rejuvenator, Golos. And we will take the Rejuvenator. And then next turn play the Ashiok and make the Golos obsolete. We will play this. First Gump. Oh, I need to get rid of this. Okay. That is a fine draw. Loading 2. Wait, where'd it go? That's his exile. He has nothing in graveyard. Yeah. Cycling. That was not something. We exiled 1 Ugin, 1 Thought Not Seer, 1 Hour of Promise. That was a pretty good hit. Razor. Arch. Get rid of another Hour of Promise. Blast Zone. Rejuvenator, Sanctum of Ugin. We'll put out. A little bit of a weird game, for sure, but I'm okay with that. So he's just playing a 3/5. Yeah. That is not exactly how we want to play this card, but what it is. Narco Beats. Oh, I guess it does have reach. Oh my goodness. What can't that little grazer do? How does this thing have reach? It's a freaking sloth. What is going on? And played a sink. There's the sink. Ugin. Do not know what the last card is. Oh, you don't want to attack me? You sure? Hey, finally, something that plays. Gurmag Grizzly. A little sad that we can't get either one of those. We'll do this. One last time. We got a Walking Ballista, Ugin. So there's now 2 Ugins. 2 Walking Ballistas. 1 Thought-Knot Seer. Okay. Chillin'. What you got? You draw Nugan. Yeah. World Breaker. Yeah. Hope he sacrifices it. Okay, he went after a land. Good. Okay, that plays for sure. And we will not attack. We're going to hold on to this Ashiok. Another one. Good. We might try to whittle this down a little bit. Try to get the Ashiok off the board. We'll see. Nope. Oh, holy smoke. Or we got rid of a World Breaker, a Rejuvenator, nothing crazy. Wow. Wow. I mill him, friends. This is some exciting stuff. Was not anticipating another Golos, another Ugin. How many Ugins you got, man? Holy crap. Dude, these Ashioks, though. Did I say Dredgeless Dredge? I meant Dredgeless Mill. Draw card. Yeah, you got it, man. I think I got rid of all your Ugins, but you could have an Ulamog in there, I guess. Ulamog would be a pretty good draw. Nope, just the land, hopefully. He knows what my first block is going to be, so I think he's just... Okay, do I actually want to do this? He's not very well prepared to battle like this. Also the issue. There's another Golos. Our... A bizarre game. Protect the Ashiok! Man, Magic is such a fun game, isn't it, guys? Like, you never know where the game's actually going to go when you start. Like, you think you know how you're going to win. And sometimes you win by the clock, sometimes you win by milling them out. Dredge deck that's supposed to be aggressive. Awkward. Okay. Our Courser Ugin gear. So 1 Ugin, 2 Ugin, 3 Ugin, 4 Ugin. Holy smokes, Batman. You were going deep on the Ugin. What is really scary, though, I don't see an Ulamog in here. Where is Ulamog? Because that thing, if it comes down, we just might lose. Like, instantaneously. Ah! No! No! Not like this. Not like this! Not like this! No! Ah! No! Ah! No! Son of a... Ah, I love this game. Whoa. We're dead in 2 turns. Alright, how do we get out of this? Well, we don't. The answer. Does this thing have indestructible? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It does. Silly question, Chris. Dude, sometimes it's your day. Sometimes it's not your day. It is this guy's day, alright? Like, he just got milled for 37 and is not dead. Not going to die. Actually, can it tell me how many cards are in here? Nope. 34. I milled him for 34 cards, and I'm going to be the one that dies. But that's okay. Happy for my opponent. I'm sure he is ecstatic about ripping that Ugin. I'm okay. I'm okay. What is life? How do we win this game? Well, we don't. Crazy. We were so close. This ultimate price is just looking sick in my hand. Maybe it should be a Vraska's Contempt. There's like nothing in there, sir. There's always casting another one. Dude, the savageness of this guy. You have no heart? You had 2 in there? Literally, there was 2 hiding in there at the bottom 7 cards of the deck. Shenanigans. Shenanigans. Is there any... I don't think so. But we're just hanging out with our opponent, you know. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you just lose all the time. Yeah, 6 creatures, so 2 of these are going to get through. I'm trying to think if there's any... I don't think there's any card that is in my deck that mills him for more. I don't think there's another Ashiok. I don't think there's anything like that. I'm doing it. Oh, okay. And I just want to see... No, never mind. Alright, well, we're dead, friends. And that is... Oi! And now we are 0-3, and we have won a game in every single round, but we have been unable, we have been unable to finish a match. That one was really interesting and really tough. I feel like I exiled all 4 Ugins, but not the Ulamogs. And so he was able to hit both Ulamogs, get rid of the Ashioks, and ultimately win the game. But I mean, that's okay. It's really exciting for my opponent. I'm sure he's ecstatic about, you know, being able to rip the Ulamog off the top, casting it, and just continuing on with his game plan. So, you know, in terms of for my opponent, his deck did exactly what it was supposed to do. He plays a land per turn. He slowly he ekes out the value, and he got there. And that's, you know, that's really cool. That's part of the power of a big mana deck. You don't need a ton of cards to win the game. You only need a few of the right one. And so that's kind of what happened. And that is okay. So we'll go on to the 4th round, you know, keeping in mind what's going on with our deck. And we'll see if we can get the last 2 victories. I'm hopeful, and I'm also I'm excited about these games. Like, these games are fun. You're doing really interesting and kind of busted things. You're casting creatures for free. Our Stitcher suppliers have been missing almost every time. So if our Stitcher suppliers were actually hitting value, I think that these games would be going entirely differently way. Entirely a different way. I can talk sometimes. Dude, red black, let's go. That's not what we want in our hand. Grab a land for next turn. We'll Grizzly Salvage, Blooming Marsh, Gurmag Angler next turn. Or Satyr Wayfinder. Present a little bit more on the board. Grab the Botanical Sanctum. There's nothing in there. Blooming Marsh, Gurmag. Oh, we can't do it. Okay, that's the power of Grizzly Salvage. If I would have done that, I would have been able to cast the Gurmag Angler this turn. I should have been able to do that math. That's just, you know, lazy on my behalf, and I will accept that. So next time I will do the math before assuming that's how that's going to work. All right, you're ticking up. I guess I wouldn't be concerned at what I'm doing either. Shock this in. It's double Grizzly Salvage. On my opponent's next turn. So I'm hoping to get, you know, between 8 and 500,000 power on board with these 2 Grizzly Salvages. Okay. Now we will do this. Reveal the top 5. You may put a creature or land card from among them into your hand. We will grab the Stitcher Supplier. And then what we will do, we will then trigger on the stack. Passes back to us. Go for this again. Oh. Oh. Okay, there's a Gurmag Angler. There's a Haunted Dead. And there's a Satyr Wayfinder. So we will... We already have one Gurmag Angler, but a second one's is always good. Let's take the Satyr Wayfinder, though, to try to power through our graveyard and get some more fodder in there. Still no prized amalgams after 30 cards. So we have 32 cards in our deck, and there's 4 prized amalgams in there, and that's kind of what we need. So let's start with the Stitcher Supplier. Still none. Go with the Satyr Wayfinder. There's a Haunted Dead, a Scrap Heap, and a Driven. Let's the Llanowar Wastes and the Haunted Dead. Discard 2 cards. We're going to discard here. Here. The realization that I could have done the Haunted Dead at the end of his turn, there is no sense in doing it on my main step, my main phase. So that is a mistake that might cost me if he has an Anger the Gods or something equivalent. Okay. That will not punish us. Yet-ish. Is 4 cards left in hand. Do Driven this turn. Him discard his hand. Okay. So let's start with the Driven. And now we can either go after him or Chandra. I think the answer is we still want to go after. Final 3. Table passage. Bone Crusher. Murderous Rider. Okay, I mean, those are very good cards to discard, so I'm not upset about how that worked out. Wow. Good rip. Yeah, my opponent is definitely going off, and I do not have any main deck removal for this Kalitas. And that actually just might be one of the biggest mistakes in the deck, in the fact that it doesn't have any way to remove main deck problems. Kalitas. So, we've played against Kalitas a few times today. I haven't been seeing much of Kalitas before today, but as soon as I would run the deck running graveyard synergies, of course we would see a Kalitas. So, with that being said, there might be a reason to run main deck removal of some sort. Let's return this haunted deck. Wait, the haunted repeat. Right, now we will return that. Sadly, I think this this Kalitas just did a little bit too much work this game, and I think that it's going to run us out of the game. Here. Dude, there's like no prized amalgams in the deck, I swear. There's 16 cards left, and we have yet to see a single prized So, are we just dead now? Or do we actually get to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? We can attack for 9 if he had no blockers. But he has 3 zombies chilling. We'll go to the next game. Alright, so we are playing against a Kalitas deck. So, we need spot removal for sure. Assassin's Trophy seems like a good catch-all. Fatal Push could be good, but let's just pass on it for game 2, and let's just try to become a more like just efficient deck. Creeping Chill is not the card that we want to have in our opening hand, so we need to remove this card from our deck to make sure that it's not in our hand. It's just too slow. It does not contribute to our game plan at all in any way meaningful if it's in our hand. So spending 4 mana to deal 3, gain 3, we're probably not going to work ourselves into that place in the game. We're going to bring in cards that interact with our opponent, left and right, and we'll cut another gathering pack. Okay, gather the pack. If you guys have any questions about what's been going on, feel free to message me in the comments and ask why, or what the decisions I've been making have been. There we are. One second, guys. Fixing my monitor. Unplug. We'll just leave it alone. We don't need it. Would we like to play first? We will. Alright. So, game 2. What this looks like to me is I mean, we really don't want to cast this. We will, but it's a 3 mana 3/3, not ideal. And a 4 mana 2/2 that makes a 1/1 with a mill card. I think that there's better 6s, so we're gonna mulligan this. Gather the Pack, Blooming Marsh, Prized Amalgam, Gurmag Angler. Gurmag Angler is better than our last hand because Gather the Pack can help cast it, so we'll keep this one. And we will bury a Llanowar Waste. So, not ideal, but it is what it is. See if we can get game number 2. Not the card we want to draw, but the way this deck has been playing recently. Gather the Pack, we get to choose a creature card and put it into our hand. Grab the Stitcher Supplier. We will probably use Haunted Dead to trigger the Prized Amalgam by discarding both of these. Interesting. Brought that in. I wonder if that's in the main or if he brought that in for us. We'll start here. We got a Driven, a couple other things with Haunted. Okay. Oh, that's a really cool interaction. I see what's happening there. Like that a lot. Anger of the Gods is kind of the card that we don't want to see. Okay. Okay. We need to hold on to this. So let's. So something I could do now is I could Assassin's Trophy this, but I think that would not be exactly the best plan. So we're just going to get in there for 4 and start being aggressive. And then next turn we will Driven. Where's that Madness? Despair. We will cast Despair. I kind of want to see if a Kalita shows up to the party before anything else. The end of the turn. I think we're just gonna hold this. There's no reason to cast it, right? Good draw. Hopefully we can find a blue land so we can eventually cast our Narcomoeba. Or nothing at all. We will Driven. Oh, we can't. Never mind. I lied. But we will attack for 9. Fine. Casual 9. This could be a Vraska's Contempt. Okay. Taking 9. Good. Can't believe the Seder Wayfinder whiffed. See, that's the we just got to figure out the numbers. I feel like this deck is very, very good, but we just got to figure out the numbers on the cards. Maybe main deck removal, things like that. Why did he wait till the end step to do that? What were you waiting for? Weird. He took 9 to abrade a 3/3 that it can come back. Okay. No attacks. Okay. So start with the Thoughtseize. Might be Assassin's Trophying the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Okay. Do not think that is any longer the play. Wrong. He is revealing a mountain. Okay. So now what we will do, pop this out. We'll wait till the end of the turn. We'll return Haunted Dead, and we'll trigger 3 prized amalgams. Only after we first attack with this guy. If only the chillers were in the. Yeah. Yep. Seems good. Yep. Good. And my opponent doesn't know it, I don't think. Very dead. So the way this will go. I will return. Oh, I messed up on the main phase. Had to be on the main. Alright, so now that we're already here, Haunted Dead won't trigger till all these prized amalgams won't trigger till my turn. I messed up there. So I guess I'm gonna give my opponent 1 out. Fortunate. So really unfortunate misclick there. Not having my time stops. Actually, first block this, we deal 2. Dude, if you miss on a land again, I'm gonna be upset at you. Okay, too late. We will the Driven. So this will put him to 1. We'll have 1 turn to remove and add damage. So I think a Glorybringer kills me. I think anything else, and he is also top decking. Remind, like, he needs to top deck a Glorybringer to win the game. But it could happen. Very possible. Okay. So we got there. That was a really kind of tight turn there. He drew a land, Liliana. So two good cards, but not the ones that he needed. So now that we know he has Bone Crusher, he has Glintsleeve Siphoner. He is going to try to stabilize a little bit. So, still don't think that we bring in too much. I think our removal suite is fine. I think the 2 Thoughtseize is also just a decent place to be. If we're gaining life, it does buy us turns, but that's not necessarily where we want to be. We're not trying to stabilize against this deck. Like, we shouldn't be stabilizing. This looks like a very good hand. So far, so good. We'll keep it. Hope you guys are having a good Monday. It is 4:30 where I'm at, so it's been gloomy all day. It was supposed to snow and then didn't. Oh, what is that? No! Alright, well, we have to make a decision right this second on if we are playing a fair game or if we are going to... Yeah, we're just going to play a fair game. Dang it. What the heck? Yep. This is where we're at. So, like I said before, we have won a game in every single round, but we have been unable to win an actual match. I wouldn't necessarily attribute it to misplays. I would just say that the deck seems to have consistency issues in this format, where a lot of the other decks we're playing against are very consistent. Play this. There was reason to play Satyr Wayfinder to try to find a blue land. Do it again. Satyr Wayfinder into a blue land. There is a Watery Grave card. And we will not pay too. We're gonna have to play a slow game. We are gonna try to buy as many turns as possible to play a regular game. Dredgeless is a good target for us. So now we have something to aim the ultimate price at. And I'm going to hold on to these Stitcher Suppliers. I'm going to give myself a couple more draw steps to try to activate that. I want at least, you know, until he's presenting a lot of pressure, we're okay. Let's go with Prized Amalgam. Cast double Prized Amalgam. Yep. We're at 10. We can play. We're gonna put this one into play tapped. He's got 2 cards left in hand. If we can find a natural state or some way to remove this Leyline of the Void, we can go off. Tough. I really want to give us one more draw step. We're at 42 cards. That means in our top 18 that we did not have a way to deal with it. So let's go a little bit farther. Can he kill us? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He removes both of these creatures from blocking the Bone Crusher, then yes, but then we lose. I guess if he draws a Murderous Rider this turn, kill the Prized Amalgam, then we get to lose. Okay, so Glorybringer. Chandra. We'll go to 2 life. So we need a way to remove the Leyline of the Void right now or we lose. This is it. We waited as long as we could. Can't wait any longer. Here we go. 3, 2. Alright. Now let's see where it was at before we concede. So, not in there. There's 3, 6, 9. So, just to give you guys a heads up, there was not a way to interact with this Leyline of the Void in the top 28 cards of the deck. So we're going to concede. It was a good game by my opponent, but I think that definitely shows a big problem for the deck in the sense that my opponent played a turn 0 Leyline of the Void, and I was not able to interact with it. There's Assassin's Trophy. It was in the second half of our deck. How many other answers did we bring in? I could have interacted with that. And just another... I do believe that we only brought in 2 Assassin's Trophy, and I did not bring in the Aether. So the Assassin's Trophies were the answers in the deck. So the 2 Assassin's Trophies could have answered the Leyline of the Void, but when we didn't see one in the top half of the deck, which makes sense because it's only 2 cards in the deck, we did not see that in games 1 or 2. So as you can see, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. It's tough because the deck feels good when it's going off, when it's doing its thing, but it is weird in the sense that it doesn't feel consistent enough to be a Pioneer deck. If it had Vengevine, maybe it could be a Pioneer deck. But as of right now, it feels like it's just missing 1 card too much. Hence why you're playing the filler card that also mills, that looks at the top 4 and puts the rest in the graveyard. You're playing that instead of just more threats. But I am having fun with the deck. We're going to play the last round. Hopefully we can get a win. I know this is for nothing. This is just, just for hanging out. But I appreciate the fact that you guys have been hanging out. I'm trying to figure out this deck. I'm definitely interested in playing another league with it. Eventually, maybe not tonight, probably tomorrow morning at like 9 a.m. I'm going to be on, and maybe if I can tweak the deck enough to be happy with it, maybe I'll play another league. But as of right now, this deck is just not quite there. I'll show you guys what it looks like. This is the 75 that we've been interacting with. It has been hard to win games, like win matches. We have yet to win a match with this deck. Lots of Stitcher Supplier whiffing, because the only way to truly trigger the Prized Amalgams coming back is to hit an Archamoeba. So you need to hit an Archamoeba to bring back Prized Amalgam, and if you don't, then you have to either mill a Scrap Heap Scrounger or a Haunted Dead and then recast those to get them back. So it's not ideal. It is a very slow grind to hit Prized Amalgam and bring him back if you don't hit an Archamoeba. So that is something to consider when building Dredgeless Dredge in Pioneer. But I mean, we're still just learning the format. We're trying to figure out where the weaknesses of this deck is. It looked, it was in a Pioneer League and it went 6-2, and I have not seen another deck similar to it. So I was like, do you know what? I want to see what this deck has going for it. But when it doesn't put up any other results, like no one's been able to pick up the deck and mimic the results, I'm wondering if that's because it is wildly inconsistent. Let's get into our final round. Doesn't do anything. We need lands. I've played Tyler the Creature before, actually, so this will be a fun game. We need a land. If we do, then we get to cast these 2 things, but these 2 cards are dead in our hand, and we want these kind of in our graveyard, so we're going to mulligan this. Stitcher Supplier, Double Satyr Wayfinder, Haunted Dead, much better. We will keep this and put this Llanowar Waste on the bottom. Tyler, did you actually accidentally F6? Scared me, buddy. Alright. Another Stitcher Supplier. Scrap Heap Scrounger is in the graveyard, so that will trigger all Prized Amalgams in the future, which is good. So it looks like we're playing blue-white control. So this deck should have a good blue-white control matchup. I guess we will find out. Let's lead with the Botanical Sanctum. Go Satyr Wayfinder. So we did put a Prized Amalgam into the graveyard. So we will only activate this. We're going to save this part of our graveyard, these Prized Amalgams, for after a Supreme Verdict. So let's force our opponent into a Supreme Verdict and then go from there. There's a Driven. Okay. A whiff. You must have a Supreme Verdict. That's okay. Oh, what? Okay. All right. Let's figure out what's going on. Testing this back. Oh, okay. What are the benefits of playing Disallow over something like Absorb? You get to stop cards that from impacting you. Let's hope for a Supreme Verdict this turn for my opponent. Awesome. All right, let's see how lucky we can get. Whoo-wee! Let's go. 1, 2. Oh, there we go. Let's go. Yeah, let's just kill him. He might just die. 1 Creeping Chill. 2 Creeping Chill. 1 Narcomoeba. 1 Prized Amalgam Trigger. 1 Stitcher Supplier still left to go. Another Creeping Chill. So he's at 4. That's pretty good. He's tapped out. So let's return Scrap Heap Scrounger. We will get rid of this Stitcher Supplier. Okay. Got there. So that was a pretty good turn 5. We forced the Supreme Will, or the Supreme Verdict, I should say. In this matchup, mostly just discard. So we will sideboard as if he has answers for us. Do this, and let's bring in this too. And in terms of what we want to cut, let's cut things that don't interact on a very excellent level. And we will cut. Let's keep Gather the Pact as a way to just increase our velocity, but we need to cut. No, we need Narcomoebas to help us trigger our Prized Amalgam. Let's go 4 here. So if we bring in that, what's that look like? Okay. What are you guys' thoughts? Anything we should be sideboarding differently? It is entirely possible I am sideboarding very incorrectly. We will keep. That. So we saw disallow. So there's also potential for censor. For the natural state is for detention sphere and for Grafdigger's Cage if he has it. Good question. So there's the censor. So I read that, but not gonna play around it. Tap. So now we will be able to play around censor if he has a second one. Let's do that by playing Grizzly Salvage on our main. Double Duress and a Grizzly Salvage into the graveyard. We do have a blue source in hand. We will grab the land. Not an ideal Grizzly Salvage. Okay. We are playing an oddly fair. Let's go here. Force him to kill it. Start with an attack. Okay. I mean, that going in the graveyard is like, yes, please. Not even an issue. This is a good one. Let's start with an attack. There's a Driven, double priced Amalgam. If he does something on his turn, I'm tempted to natural state the Scrap Heap Scrounger and reoccur it from the graveyard. Okay. Let's attack for 4. Let's play this. He might counter it, but that's fine. We can get it back from our graveyard. Graveyard's looking touch. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this match. This is game 2 against Blue-White Control. We got game 1, and now we are just meandering through game 2, trying to figure out what our opponent is trying to do. He's trying to kill it, kill us. If he's just trying to go long, short, like if he's going to try to close the game out, if he's activating this Mystic or this Castle, you know, we really don't know. He's only cast a few things. That is a dig through. That is an excellent card. So yeah, we're just hanging out. We're chilling. He's at 13. We're going to kill him soon, hopefully. In game, right? Settle the Wreckage is a card that could cause concern. That is something we have to be very wary about. We're on his end step. Assassin's Trophy is an excellent card. Four, five, six, 7. We have 7 damage coming in, so this is turn clock. Don't know exactly what's going on. Another dig through time. I'm unsure if I should do any interactions right now. I'm okay with that. It doesn't gain him life. Granted. Okay. Are you looking for a Supreme Verdict? Or a Settle the Wreckage? Ormond's Crypt entered. So how do we want to do this? So this will work this way. We're going to be able to kill him. And then with this still on the stack, we will reanimate this. And exile the Satyr Wayfinder. So now if he Supreme Verdicts, we're going to attack for 6 with the Prized Amalgams next. We found lethal. Oh wait, never mind. They don't come back till the end of the turn. We'll be able to do this. I guess it just forces him to he has to crack the Tormod's Crypt on his turn. There. Let's get back. So, I've done this any differently? I don't think so. I could have. One's better to back this. Yeah, I think that there was probably a better way to go about that. I thought I was getting him good, and then I realized it doesn't bring him back instantly. Delayed reaction. Recursion for a Scrap Heap Scrounger again. That's good. We currently have quite a bit of board pressure, but let's cast this. Okay. We want to keep this Gurmag Angler in here for this Scrap Heap Scrounger. A little bit of an interesting game. This is only game 2, so we are still totally fine. So he's putting that on top. You're putting Dig Through Time on top of your graveyard, or on top from your graveyard on top of your library. You have Quicken, Bay of Wishes. Okay, you have a blocker. Okay. Let's see if he does anything before I attack. Game. But a little bit of a weird one. Thanks is red for 4. Now he has to Dig Through Time. This is our game. End step. That moment when your control opponent has too many cards in hand on turn 11. Definitely gonna win. And you go. As you like. Okay. He makes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He needs blocker, I'm pretty sure. There's no way. Oh, we can't do that. Alright, we just gotta like let it go. Ah, come on. Right. In there. And we're holding the Overgrown Tomb now, so we can discard it potentially to Hunted Dead. So in response to that, stuff. Yeah. And another one. Right. Dig through time's not bad. Who knew that card was good? It is surprising in this format, though, that Dig Through Time is better than Treasure Cruise was in Modern and in Standard, because Dig Through Time I don't think has ever been better than both those cards. Dig Through Time has never been the better of the two cards, but in this format, because of how bad Treasure Cruise lines up without fetches, it's crazy. Right? Always wanted to draw a card. Prized Amalgam, right on time. Welcome. Blooming Marsh, you have bloomed at the wrong time of the game. Oh, here we are. In you go. Is there any chance he dies? At all? 0% chance, right? Okay. Let's just, see how our opponent is going to win the game. Because we've yet to see him win a game, so I don't know exactly what his main primary win condition is. So I kind of want to see that happen. Then we'll go from there. Fairy Hero of Dominaria. Please. Not prize this amalgam, but please tell me you counter. Nice. Nice. Such a bizarre game. Hopefully you guys aren't too bored. Got another one. Approach of the Second Sun is revealed. Holy smokes. This is how we're winning, friends. We can. Thoughtseize. See what he's got going on. Hour of Revelation, Disallow, Censor, Absorb, and Quicken. Let's take Hour of Revelation. Holy crap, those Mystic Sanctuaries are really good. Helping to get 2 approaches. Right? Like that. Dig it. I'm just trying to make sure that he doesn't like crack the field going after a land or something like that. The winner? Winner, winner. Alright. Win the game, sir. Alright, so for game 3, now that we know he has the Fae of Wishes board package, let's get rid of these Driven to Despairs because he is going to be very good at manipulating us into not letting us do that. And let's bring back in a little bit of a weird game. Alright guys, so this will be our final game of the day. If you have enjoyed what you've been watching, feel free to hit that follow button. I will be streaming tomorrow at 9 a.m. and then I'll be going into the early afternoon, so if you enjoy this, feel free to click it. So the way Fae is worded is it goes into the sideboard. So the 9 a.m. time zone I am talking about is I live on the East Coast, so near New York City. So why would I bring an Ashiok? NZ paper. And New Zealand. Okay, so we hit another Stitcher Supplier, nothing good. So yeah, I stream at 9 a.m. and then I usually stream into the afternoon. Today was a long stream because I started late. So I got on a little bit before the banning and announcements. So let's just get board pressure. We'll get Grizzly Salvages into play later on. But right now, just assuming board pressure makes sense. NZ Paper and Helium, thank you guys for hanging out though. I see that you guys both commented quickly after I said hit that follow button, so I do appreciate the fact that you guys are interested and hanging out with me, even to the end. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying these games. Would you have brought in Ashiok paper? Oh, so the one that looks at the top 7, it's not a draw. You get to put those into your hand. If it said draw X number of cards, yeah, it doesn't interact quite like that. You're not searching your library, you're looking at the top 7. It's a very, I guess, specific keyword that I think Ashiok gets around. So now we will Thoughtseize my opponent and also... No, you're complete. No, you're good. You're all good. Let's Thoughtseize my opponent now. Hour of Revelation, Sphinx's Rev, Fae, Disallow, Disallow, Deck, and Censor. Alright, so we will take the deck in stone. And then cast this crap heap. We might kill him. Gonna be a close one. Yep. He has no more lands in hand. So, full card. Answer is gone. Found the land. Nice. He's gonna need quite a few. What is Ashiok good against? Anything that says, look through your library and look for X target cards. Or looks like it's good against fetches. So if you look through your deck for fetch lands, there's the other card that costs 5 mana, and you get to find 2 basics out of your deck, or 2 deserts or other basic lands out of your deck, and put them into play. He's taking 4 here. Hopefully we can get him. Yeah, Ashiok is good against matchups where your opponent's constantly looking through their deck every turn. So fetch lands is the big one. If you're looking for a specific card, it's also good in that instance. It used to be good against the any graveyard strategy too, because you get to tick up and make them exile their graveyard. So if he had Torrential Gearhulk, then we saw that, then I would consider doing that. I mean, there's if he attacks here, he's telegraphing. Yeah, so combos control decks, absolutely. So like for instance, I brought it in earlier against a mono green ramp deck, and I was exiling their graveyard and also their library because everything was like they were trying to search for lands every turn, and they were trying to like accelerate to like an Ugin or an Ulamog. So this to me says that he found a Supreme Verdict. So my opponent had 2 draw steps, and in those 2 draw steps, he found a land, or I'm sorry, he had 3 draw steps, and in those 3 draw steps, he found 2 lands and a Supreme Verdict. Pretty good. And I get no activation triggers for the scrap heaps. Okay, we're missing lands, so unfortunate. Let's activate this now, because he has disallow. So we'll do this. Okay. I accidentally exiled another scrap heap. I thought I was activating it. Jinxing. Yep. So now I will activate this other ability. Scrap heap. Pretty good. Unfortunate. Oh, he had 2 Deccan Stones in his deck. Crazy. Was not into. Shock this in. Alright, and then end of his turn, we'll double Grizzly Salvage and hope to combo off. Fortunate. Not have a stopper on the main. He missed a land drop. So let's do the same thing again and see if he gets impatient. Yeah, his drawing skills are off the chart. You are very Correct. All of my opponents today have drawn really, really well. They draw exactly what they need when they need it, and that's okay. Resolve one of these. Black, green. Easily salvage. Ooh, those are very good. We will take Satyr Wayfinder. So now next turn we can do some weird things with Haunted Dead. We can put Prized Amalgam into the graveyard via Haunted Dead, and then we can try to get it back. Evening, Anmion. How you doing? Another Deccan Stone on top. Okay. Fine. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to activate Haunted Dead. Card here. Assassin's Trophy. Dang, nice. Okay. Oh, my draws. My draws are awesome. Okay. Double disallow our revelation, and he has on top of his library a Deccan Stone. Deccan Stone wouldn't affect us too bad right now because we have 4 different creatures. So we actually might be okay with him drawing and casting. Get 2. Okay. Okay over there. Let's further expand our horizons. Add a different creature to the board. How was work though, Anmion? Busy? Doing? Yeah. Right. Chilling and watching Magic now. Yeah. So I wonder what his game plan is. He has a Deccan Stone. He could quicken it. He could also quicken a Supreme Verdict. Play the long game, I guess. Ooh, Magic Fest at Reno. Are you participating? I'm kidding. Let's attack first and then figure out how to kill him. The sad thing is that we can't do much about playing around things, so we're just going to attack with all and go from there. Destroy all non-land permanents. So on that, single card. You cannot kill him with this Creeping Children. And then we will draw a second card now. I brought back in 2 because I got him both game or in the second game I got him down to 2 and then he stabilized, where if I would have flipped over a Creeping Chill he was dead. And so I realized that maybe having all of them out of the deck takes away a little bit of reach when he's erased the board. But like right now I have this Creeping Chill back in my hand, so it might just kill him. So I'm actually hoping to use this as like a Lightning Bolt eventually. He has 2 disallows that we know about in hand. He's running low on time. So let's activate this Haunted deck. Right here. Just present another lethal board turn after turn. And I'm playing around disallow so that no matter what, now he has to have a board wipe and not a disallow. So I know he has 2 disallows. And if I can connect with either the 2/2 or the 3/3, then I can catch the Creeping Chill and try to get lethal. Because I'm hoping right now he just has a handful of just counter magic. So yeah, I brought back in 2 Creeping Chills. So like even next turn, if I Grizzly Salvage and I flip over a Creeping Chill and then I cast a Creeping Chill, like that's 6 damage. And that's without attacking. And so he's having to interact with me on a very different level, which is kind of what I'm trying to get at. I don't believe my opponent can win though with only 3 minutes left. I could be very wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. That's not exactly how I want to win the game. So he has a Tormod's Crypt. Is there anything in my graveyard that we care about right now? Green Verdict, Tormod's Crypt. He's thinking a lot. This has been a good game though. So Deck and Stone, that is completely fine. Fairy, okay. I do believe he is dead. So we will find out right now. So we will start with the Assassin's Trophy here. Back. We'll attack him for 4. So yeah, bringing back in 2 Creeping Chills, it did actually end up, I think, winning us the game. Unless he has a 1 blue counter spell. It'd be really weird to have in against me, but weirder things have happened. Okay. So we won the game. Ooh, it was close. And to wrap up how our league went, as you can see, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 2-1. That was a long one. So let me quickly go over the deck and how it performed today, and just give how I feel about the deck. For those of you who watched the league, I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun playing this deck, but it is way too inconsistent as of right now. I kept on whiffing on Stitcher Suppliers. The only way to trigger Prized Amalgam naturally off of a Gather the Pack, the Grizzly Salvage, or Satyr Wayfinder is to flip a Narcomoeba. So you have exactly 4 hits in the deck to trigger Prized Amalgams to get them back for free. If you don't, then you have to use a Scrap Heap Scrounger or a Haunted Dead out of the graveyard, which you also have to get in the graveyard to trigger the Prized Amalgams. So it's just, the deck's a lot of fun. It's very, very, when it goes off very hard. But it also doesn't have any answers in the main deck to answer a main deck graveyard card. And with Fae of Wishes in the format, there was a number of times where my opponents were able to either naturally play them in the main deck or tutor for the answers to my deck, and I was unable to do anything. In terms of removal spells, once they're on the board, my opponent, I think in round 3 or 4, played a turn 0 Leyline, and the only 2 answers I had in the entire deck was 2 Assassin's Trophies, because I did not expect the Leylines. And so I brought in 2 Assassin's Trophies, and you know, the likeliness that you find 2 of them, or the likeliness you find 1 of them before your opponent stabilizes is unlikely. So I would recommend bringing in, maybe even moving 2 Assassin's Trophies to the main deck, and knowing that they're there would give us an out any deck that we play against if they have a main deck answer or if they find a main deck. So as far as Driven Despairs go, Driven Despair was very, very good, but the one issue I do have with it is that the good end is on the front end. So if you draw it, it's really good, but most of the time you're putting it into your graveyard. The back end makes your opponent discard, but they get to choose, so it's not like a random effect. And the Driven, you get to draw cards, and it gives them trample. So it's not exactly a great card in this deck when most of your cards are 1/1s. And so trampling 1/1 is not really a thing. So that this card on the front end was a little awkward, and the Despair part was also awkward because at one point in the game, my opponent discarded 3 of the 4 cards in hand, kept the one that won him the game. So that's another card that maybe could get trimmed. 18 lands, or I think 18 lands might be enough. 20 lands is a lot, but Satyr Wayfinders, Grizzly Salvages, and I think, do Gather the Packs find lands? No. So we have 8 cards on turn 2 that find us lands, and because we're already aggressively mulliganing, I could see us trimming on some more lands to just mulligan to 6 and then find our 2 lands or 1 land with cards. Overall, the deck was a ton of fun. The sideboard also needs changed. I think Fatal Push could be changed to something else because a lot of the cards that are posing issues cost 3, 4, 5 mana, and triggering Fatal Push or triggering the second ability, the Revolt ability on Fatal Push could be difficult. Ashiok was awesome in the one game that we played her in, and she almost won us the game until our opponent top decked one of their Ulamogs and got rid of her. So we almost milled them out, but then we lost. I think that was match 3. But overall, friends, I think this deck was a ton of fun to play. I would definitely recommend making changes and then playing it again. I could definitely see something happening with this deck in the near future. Gather the Pack was maybe the least impressive card in the deck because it doesn't find lands. And so it only finds creatures, and a lot of your creatures you already won in the graveyard. So there was multiple times where I cast Gather the Pack, and I did not return, like use both abilities and return 2 creatures. I only wanted 1 of them. And the only card you really want in your hand ever is Stitcher Supplier. Everything else, Stitcher Supplier and Gurmag Angler, 1 black cards that you're hoping to cast. Everything else you want in the graveyard. And so this Gather the Pack was a little awkward because there's only 7 cards in the deck that you want naturally in your hand. And so I could see us trimming on Gather the Packs for Assassin's Trophies and maybe cutting a Driven Despair, maybe moving them to the sideboard or vice versa. But overall, thank you guys for hanging out. I have been streaming for 8 hours today, so I am going to call it quits on that. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. You know, just what is an ideal new card that would make it better? I think some sort of main deck removal, like Assassin's Trophy, would make it better. And I think out of the graveyard, you need a way to recur like multiple cards back to your hand. And so I know there's some cards that say return all cards that were put there this turn back to your hand, or maybe the white card that brings back all 2 drops or 3 drops or 4 drops from your graveyard to the battlefield, that could potentially be an inclusion. Or maybe that deck is just better than this. But overall, also only 3 Scrap Heap Scroungers. Scrap Heap Scroungers is a little weird. That card is really, really strong. On turn 2, a 2-mana 3/2 that can't block but does have recursion and triggers Prized Amalgam would probably and should probably be a 4 of. And also not having 4 Haunted Dead, another recursion spell, I would like to see increased numbers in these two and maybe less Gather the Packs. So I think maybe solidifying these cards from the graveyards and less putting them into your hand. So Gather the Pack wants to put them into your hand or mill them over. But I think that just maximizing on the actual threat density would be better, because there's a lot of times where I was not drawing threats and I was putting them into the graveyard or milling them over. So I could see that happening. Or something else you could also consider, now that I'm thinking about it, we are playing blue. We're playing a lot of blue lands for Monarch Amoeba and Prized Amalgam. So there is potential that maybe we should be playing a card like Oko. I know that sucks to say, but Oko would give us a different game plan. Oko and Nexus have just been banned. Wait, what? Are you being serious? Can't tell if you're being serious or not. What? Okay, give me 1 second. I need to confirm this as we're talking. Wait, what? Wait, it happened today? I was reading the banned and restricted list, I thought. What? I had no idea Oko and Nexus was banned. Okay, well that changes the format totally. So maybe this deck is good now. Thank you for updating me on that. Oko banned, Nexus banned. Holy smokes. Magic Online is effective tomorrow. Wow. Simic Food has had a nearly 60% non-mirror match win rate on Magic Online and has earned more than twice as many 5-0 league finishes than any other archetype. It has favorable matchups against most of the other top decks and no strongly unfavorable matchups. In considering possible changes to bring the deck to a better balance with Field, Oko stands as a powerful threat to answer and shores up many natural weaknesses of ramp decks. In addition, Oko appears in several of the other strongest decks that would continue to contribute to metagame balance problems. The Nexus deck has the second highest win rate and a number of 5-0 league finishes among top decks. Holy crap. Yep, never mind guys. So I have been playing Magic so long today that I had no idea that even happened. So thank you guys for the update. And now that Oko is banned, I do not know what to recommend to you. Hydrate Krasis. I'm kidding. Do not play Hydrate Krasis in this deck. Maybe some sort of recursion spell or draw spell. Chart a Course could be good. Or Strategic Planning could be good. Strategic Planning actually might be better than Gather the Pack, because you look at the top 3 and you put 1 into your hand and 2 into your graveyard. So you get a selection of any card. And I think being able to grab any card would be really good in this deck, especially when you bring in Thoughtseize and Duress. So actually that might be the inclusion. Take out Gather the Pack, add 4 Strategic Plannings, or some number of Strategic Plannings where after you sideboard, you could try to find your Thoughtseizes or Duress. So I think now that we've talked about that, I think maybe the major upgrade I would make is there. Or something you could also do is add Scarab God. I know it costs 5 mana, but it would be good. Or Champion of Wits. So Champion of Wits could also be another inclusion where you get some filtering. You get to draw 2, discard 2. Pretty good. So maybe just making this deck a little bit heavier on the top end and not such like an aggro deck. But anyways, guys, hey, I'm going to call it a day on that. I'm glad that we got the excitement of the bans and restricteds on the stream, and I had no idea. So it is December 16th, 2019 for those of you who are watching, and Nexus and Oko have just been banned after I recommended them. But anyways, thanks guys for hanging out. Hit that follow button. I will be streaming tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. either with this deck with changes or maybe a different deck, but the format's going to look very different. Oko and Nexus banned. So NZ Paper, thank you so much for hanging out. It was a pleasure meeting you and talking to you today. I hope to see you around again. I will be I'll be here. So I hope you'll be there. All right, see you guys. Absolutely, Helium. Thanks for hanging out. See you guys.